Hi, everybody. Welcome to day 4 of my Waves of Communication 30-day Facebook Live Language Facilitation Challenge. It changes name every day. Basically, I'm coming live 30 days in a row to tell you about language facilitation, different topics every day, and to help you as a parent of a late talking child learn how that you can be a language facilitator and why parents are the most important thing. Today's topic is pretty much the whole reason that I got into Waves of Communication and doing this whole thing, and it's kind of emotional because it's really the whole reason that I'm here. And I see that Amarias and Brienne are here. Thank you so much for joining me. In case you're new to this whole Facebook Live 30-day challenge thing and you don't know me, my name is Marcy Melzer, and I am an intuitive speech-language pathologist, and I help parents teach their late talking children how to use the words they need to share their wisdom with the world. And I do that with my Waves of Communication parent coaching program. If you have any questions about that or any questions about how to work with me, at any time you can send me a private message and I can get with you. And if you're just joining me now, I see that Melly is here. Thank you so much for coming today. I'm so glad people are popping in. Thanks again. So today's topic, let's get to it because I'm just really excited, is about spirit kids. Now, a few of you that are watching now may have seen a couple of the articles that I've written around on the internet about spirit kids and what they are and why I'm so passionate about the idea of that. And so what I'm going to do is just let you know today we're going to talk about what spirit kids are, what I think that is, why I call them that, and what's special about those kids. And then we're also going to talk about intuition and why intuition is necessary to facilitate language. And I'm also going to tell you 2 ways that parents use intuition to help their kids, and the 2 ways that I help parents use their intuition to help their language, their communication delayed kids, late talkers. And then I'm also going to, if you stick around to the end, I'm actually going to demonstrate for you today how I use my intuitive gifts to get messages from the universe and help people. So that's a kind of a big deal for me, and I hope that that's something that you guys might be interested in. If it is, give me a thumbs up, please, because I really want to know that that's something that's going to be cool, because it certainly isn't the same as other speech therapists do and how they do it. But, this is it. This whole 30 days is about bringing it out to the open and why intuition is so important in this process. So stay tuned to the end because I'm going to demonstrate. All right, so let's get to the topic. Thanks again for everybody who's joining me. I just see Tiffany popped in. Hi, nice to see you, Tiffany. And all right, so let's get into it. Let's talk about spirit kids. So spirit kid is a term that I have come up with that includes kids who they start, pretty much from birth, but they're kids who have these characteristics, okay? The nonverbal spirit kids, these are the ones I'm talking about. So spirit kids enjoy interaction, but it all has to be on their terms. So they might not enjoy interaction the way that, the way that most people do, because a lot of times they're pretty reserved and they're all into themselves. And, when you're reserved and you're into yourself, if you think about yourself as an introvert, this could be you. It's kids who do love interaction. So they're kids who you might have some very beautiful bonding, tight moments with your child. But when you want to get a hug or you're needing a little love from them, they're kind of not available for you. So that's one characteristic of a spirit kid. Here's another one. they have very limited attention for verbal language. And that's because spirit kids communicate on a whole different level. These kids communicate with ideas and by demonstrating and by feeling. They actually get you to interpret what they're doing. They rely on you to do those things. So a spirit kid isn't going to be interested in verbal language. Some of them might be obsessed with the verbal language that they love, like a song or a phrase or some one thing that makes them happy, but it's not necessarily the verbal language part of it that gets them excited. It's the experience they had when they learned that phrase. So, like my little friend Allie, Valerie's little girl, she loves the song Old MacDonald, and she was using songs to request things, but obviously they weren't functional. She wasn't requesting Old MacDonald even when she was saying those words. It just was, at that moment it served her a purpose and she put it into her memory banks as something to use. But as far as being Old MacDonald verbal representation of English language, I'm not so sure that kids use words. When they use them like that, they use them as language. I think they use them as communication tools, but they're not using them in the same construct as language that, when you say Old MacDonald is a farmer or Old MacDonald has a farm or, like that. So you're using it. All right, so here's another thing about language. So they don't, and when you're talking to them, it resembles, I think that it resembles like the old Charlie Brown cartoons where the teacher kind of sounds like wah, 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 wah. And the kids all understand. We can't hear what the teacher's saying, but you see the kids looking. You see them paying attention to the teacher. You see them comprehending what she's saying. And it's kind of like that, a little bit of an analogy where, it might sound like whatever. They get the idea of the message, but they don't hear all the words. So that's kind of a typical language, issue about spirit kids. So spirit kids also pretty much have non-functional verbal expression. Like I said, if they are using words, it's just because they like using words. They use words because they see things and they remember them, or they like hearing themselves say the word, or they say the word over and over again because it's something that, is related to something they like. But their expression for asking for things and that kind of stuff is limited. And if they do have it, it's usually a pretty canned phrase or a single word or one gesture like this for milk or eat or something like that. One kind of representation of what they need, but it's not, it's not really functional for them. Definitely not across different avenues. All right, also these kids, spirit kids, super, super smart, okay? They know how to solve just about any kind of problem there is. If you had locks on the refrigerator because they figured out how to climb chairs to get up into the refrigerator, they're going to figure out the thing. If you were putting a code on it, they would be looking over your shoulder to try to find the code. These kids are so smart. They're excellent with technology. They know how to find just exactly the same YouTube they love to watch over and over and over again. These guys are super smart at knowing how to get what they want, okay? But they are also super smart at getting out of what they don't love. So most of the time, because words don't mean anything to them, and if they're late talking, pretty much everyone in their environment's trying to get them to say words, they, just pretty much shut it down. Pretty much shut it off completely. Brianna says it sounds like her son. So, that's the thing. It's not that they aren't paying attention just because they're, spiting you, that they're too busy or they're whatever. You literally aren't talking the same language. So, spirit kids, their communication isn't founded in words. And they're not important to them. So, and what are they using instead, was what I kind of tried to figure out. And these kids are using gestures. They're using parents is what they're using, because the parents every parent is already connected with their child. I mean, it's just the kids come in, they're born being connected with their parents. So they're going to be, the parent's going to, from birth, they're used to anticipating kids' needs, because obviously when you have a newborn baby, that's what you do as a mom. You anticipate all their needs moving on, and you develop your own kind of communication. You understand that that kind of cry means wet diaper. That kind of cry means I got a bellyache. That kind of cry means I miss you and I want you to come hug me. You kind of know that. You even differentiate the cries and how it goes. And that's how it goes. These kids, these spirit kids, they latch on to your ability as a parent to read them. And they are so good at projecting their information to you, even with their cries, that when you get really good at it, then they depend on you to just continue to do that interpretation. So I see that Sume says that her son is also like that. And I want to let you know, if you have a child who's doing this, go ahead and write, in the comments, because I think this is happening a lot. I started to see it, of course, when I was working with families' homes all the time, in families' homes, and I saw all these families, and I was trying to figure out, of course, why aren't these kids communicating? Because that was my job as a speech therapist. I'm trying to get them communicating. So I had to figure out why they're not. Why are their parents having difficulty getting them to try to do it? And I think what was happening was parents were trying to do stuff. They were trying to talk more, read more, project more, language at the child, because that's typically what happens. But I think what was happening was the more they would project that language to these spirit kids who really don't care about language much, the more it turned into want. It's like when you have a conversation with somebody new, and I'm guilty because I go off on tangents and I get to, people meet me and they start talking about their lives, and I almost always steer it around to language facilitation somehow because I can't shut it off. And people probably get bored with me, so I have to watch them, and if they start to kind of roll their eyes or look away, I have to know when to shut it down. Sometimes I don't. So that's why it's important, if you really want to get a hold of me, the best way is to send me a private message, because then you're going to get my attention and I'm going to be able to do it. But you definitely can also leave a comment here and let me know. I see Tanya says that she did it for a long time until she put her foot down. So that's it. I think that's what happens. These kids, these spirit kids, they use their energy, they use that intuitive connection with you, and that's I know that you know what I want, so I'm just going to hold out and wait for you to guess. And that's what's happening. And that's what's happening pretty much with every language facilitator parent that I meet. Because the thing is, you can't help it. You want to know, you have to know what your kid wants. And in the absence of any other kind of functional communication, or even language, whether it's English or Spanish or German or whatever language you're trying to teach your child, language doesn't matter. It's not important. So what really is important is that, you understand what's going on with it. So, like I said, those are these characteristics of a spirit kid. And these are the kids, like I said, they get stuck in this intuitive connection mode, and they get to rely on their parents. And their parents, who had been successful their whole lives anticipating their needs from birth, suddenly aren't successful at it anymore. Because in these spirit kids' mind is so much going on. These kids are so smart. They're figuring out the world in their own way without language. They're using pictures. They're using all of these things instead of language. And all you want them to do is talk. All you want them to do is just tell you what's in that mind. And that's why my catchphrase is, I help parents teach their kids the words they need to share their wisdom with the world. Because here's the other thing, and this is where it hits home, is these spirit kids, for those of you who are connected with the universe and God and know that there's something bigger than just you and me, and that we're all connected energetically, and if you believe that and you understand that, or even if you think it might be true, you don't even have to believe wholeheartedly. You can understand how kids are using this connected energy. Just like you connect with God, just like you meditate, just like you connect with whatever, they're connecting with you. And just like that, they're connecting with everything. They're connecting with the plants. They're connecting with the cars. They're connecting with the videos they look at. They're connecting with the sounds they hear. But we don't know what they're connecting with because they can't tell us in our language. But you as moms know what your spirit kids are connecting with. Every single parent of a spirit kid I'm talking to, and Tanya says that too. I love hearing him talk. Oh, I'm so glad, Tanya, he's talking. It is so hard when you don't know and you start to guess and you're not right because their ideas are bigger. And so what we need to do is to help them bridge that gap and get out of this intuitive connection and the reliance on you because you're the only ones who know how to interpret these messages, because you're the ones that are the frontline connection. As connected as they are with the plants and trees and animals and, all of that, these kids love hippotherapy, horse therapy. They love to go to the zoo. They love to be in nature. They love to play with dirt. They love to go to aquariums and see fish. Help your kids connect that way and then use those nature experiences and talk about them in ways that your child can understand. Really super simple language. Because that's what I'm actually getting into to tell you about how parents, this is how I teach parents, how to use their intuition to break through that intuition barrier and help kids come out. But first I want to let you know, I see that there's people joining in. All the replays, so if you're coming now, the replay is going to be available. And then after that, you're going to be able to see them all here on my page. And I'm also getting a YouTube channel because I figure if I've got 30 days worth of stuff and people are tuning in, this is day 4. If this is the first time you're watching, thank you for joining me. I am so excited that you're here with me on my 30-day Facebook Live Language Facilitation Challenge to tell everybody out there on the planet that it's really possible for you as parents to be able to facilitate your language by helping your kids energetically overcome their resistance to using words and then teach them naturally using the things that they love, because if it isn't fun, it isn't fun. And right now for spirit kids, words are no fun. So you have to figure out how to change that and how to get it into doing fun. So before I tell you about that, I have to take a break and I have to tell you a little bit about this woman who I just met today. She saw my video from day 1. Excuse, my nose is itching and I need to have a drink. Sorry. I just spilled it myself. Welcome to my world. Okay, so the first day of my 30-day challenge, I put out there what it is to be, what is an intuitive speech language pathologist. She reached out to me because she is, guess what? An intuitive speech language pathologist. Whoa! It's not crazy. There's more than one of me out there. It's so exciting for me that she reached out to me. Her name is, I want to say it right because I messed it up before. Where's my note? Okay. Her name is Ann Jenna, and she is from India. She's a speech pathologist trained in India, and she lives in the UK right now, and she's working as a telepractitioner. She is a speech therapist who works with families in telepractice. And she contacted me because she has been on a similar journey to me. She works in the system, and I just got water on my chin. She has clients directed to her, assigned to her. And she sees all kinds of families. Kids who stutter, kids who are autistic, kids who are late talking, and for all different kinds of things. And she has noticed, she didn't always do telepractice. She's only been doing it for a year. And she did it when she relocated. And she used to work previously in a clinic where she, automatically used her intuition when she played with children. And she did a lot of that connecting with them and getting them to talk and stuff. But she had parents who pretty much dropped the kids off and then left, like would leave the child with her, and then she would spend the last 10 to 15 minutes teaching the parents. And when she switched to telepractice, she said it actually turned into more parent involvement, especially for the kids who have short attention, because she was having difficulty keeping their attention via the internet, because she wasn't in the room with them, even to share their energy. And Ann Jenna said that, she's kind of been through her own spiritual journey, and when she started to work on the internet with the telepractice, she has some of the tried and true things that you can use face to face that we learned in school for all those years just kind of don't resonate. They don't generate to this format. And so she said, I had to bag some of the things that I was using that were sort of standard practice, flashcards and playing together with toys and things like that. She didn't have that ability to hand a child a toy to get them to talk. She had to figure out how to connect to them otherwise. And so she bagged some of her data collection, structured, the way that she used to work all the time. She started to use her intuitive ideas about, I wonder why he's not talking. I wonder how I can connect with that. And so she started to use that in her practice, and she started to see really nice improvements with her kids. But she contacted me because she said, what I don't get is how to get the parents to understand it. Like, she's been through her own spiritual journey, and so she knows how the universe works and how energetic communication is. And she realized that she couldn't use the physical energy of touch and play anymore, so she had to tap into it, and she didn't even realize she was doing it, but she was using her intuition as a speech pathologist to help her families do better. And what's interesting is now she gets recommended, her boss tells her that more and more parents are asking for her as a speech therapist who come to the telepractice because other parents who've seen nice improvement are seeing improvement. But Ann Jenna wasn't even aware why that was happening or what was going on. She said, these parents want to work with me, but I don't know why, and I want to be able to tell them. I want to be able to help them learn how. So I said, guess what? That's what I'm talking about live today. Today I'm going to talk about how you as a parent can help kids get in there. And the one thing that Ann Jenna told me when she was telling me about her journey and about what she came to realize about the families that she was working with remotely was that the whole process of language facilitation is an inside-out job. In order to get to the part where your child is bridging that gap and interested in words and starting to want to communicate with you more verbally, you have to dig in and get to where they are now. And it may be 3 layers up. We talked yesterday about those layers in an onion or layers in a child. You have to peel off the layers to get down to the real root cause of what's causing this late talking. And if it's physiological, like we talked about yesterday, it's important to remedy that. But if it's in the case of a spirit kid, And it's literally they are resisting using verbal language because their comfort zone is in this intuitive, energetic communication world. Then you have to use your intuition to help get them out. You have to use that connection to get to where they are. And you do that by breaking things down to the very core level and interpreting the things that they have and providing them with the words they need to share their wisdom with the world. So what you do is, if they're excited about something, you have to find out at what level are they jiving with it. Are they talking about it? Are they watching it? Are they feeling it? Are they jumping it out? Are they running it out? That's the other thing I forgot to say. Spirit kids usually have a lot of energy, but they go in spurts. They're on one end of the spectrum versus the other end of the spectrum. Sorry, something crazy pops up. So they're on one end of the spectrum. They're going fast and 100 miles an hour, or they're nothing. Spirit kids are dichotic, which means that they tend to go from one extreme to the other. They can be crazy for a minute and then crash and burn. It's kind of like a new puppy. When you think about their energy, they go and they play and they go like crazy, and then when they sleep, they're laying off the couch with their tongue hanging out. That's kind of how spirit kids go. When they do sleep and they do rest, they crash and burn. But when they're going, sometimes their energy gets really going and busy. And what's crazy about spirit kids is they have a hard time controlling that energy. So here's another way that parents have to do. First, you have to interpret those messages. That's the first thing you have to do. You have to interpret those messages, and you have to bring it down to their level and understand what it is and enjoy whatever they're enjoying with them at that level. So if your kid is into Old MacDonald and singing the Old MacDonald song, you have to figure, what do they love about it and how are they getting excited about it? Then you go there and you just enjoy it with them. Connect with them. And then you can show them what the words are that basically interpret or talk about that situation. So, one of Allie's first words that Valerie told me was wind, because she loves to see stuff blow in the wind. And, her mom was like, probably at one point was, because at that point she was giving a lot of language. Look at the wind, leaves are blowing. And she was texting and talking all these things, and Allie got wind. Love it. Wind. So that's what Valerie did the next time they were playing in the wind, and she heard Allie say wind. She connected right in there and she was like, yeah, wind. I get it. Wind. That's a word. Wind. And so just playing with the word while you're enjoying the thing together, visually, with music. If you're dancing and your child's dancing is their thing, you just go dance, 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 because you're showing them that the movement is fun. That's might be what they love about it. The music is what's fun. That might be what they love about it. The jumping up and down, the fact that their head is going side to, who knows what they love about it. Join them where they are and establish that connection before you can bring them out into your own world. And just put words there in a way that seems natural. And that's just the way to get started with spirit kids, is to show them that words are fun, because, as I always say, if it isn't fun, it isn't fun. So when they're having fun is when you're going to get them to do it. If they don't care about words, they're not going to do it. When I was talking to my new friend today, I was telling her that the analogy I use with parents about getting kids out of this intuitive bond is like a child who is so comfortable walking, but you have a brand new shiny bicycle for them, and they are petrified of the bicycle. They don't understand it, they don't like it, they don't use it, all that. When their kids are, they see the bicycle, yikes. So think about language, verbal language, as the bicycle. And your child is walking. They love walking. And only walking. So, they don't really like the bikes. Other kids are riding bikes and that's all okay, whatever. I don't care. I like walking. I like my path. This is where I am. And you have bought the most beautiful bicycle. It's their favorite color. It's got streamers and baskets and bells and all of that stuff, and the kid doesn't care about it at all. So what you have to do is somehow you have to make the bicycle fun. You have to make it interesting enough for that child to overcome their fear of it and touch it and sit on it. Whoa, that would be a big step, right? Watch the pedals go around just without it. Look at the things. Touch that it's got grease on it. All those things. Explore it together. So in order to overcome your fear of something, you have to explore it. And that's what you use your intuition to do. You intuitively understand what your child is talking about, using whatever they're using, behaviors, gestures, signs, and then you interpret it in a way that's super fun and playful. Because then when your kid says words, it's going to make you go through the roof and you're going to be so excited and you're going to be happy. And guess what kids always want? They always want their parents to be happy. So when you get what you want, which is your child's ability to tell you what's going on, you're happy. Your energy, your happy energy, radiates to your child. They get happy. They see that them using words, because you said, I love that you said wind, I love that you said cookie, I love that you said whatever. When you let them know how great it is that you are using language, they're gonna, and how happy it makes you, then they're gonna want to keep doing it. And that, in essence, is how you overcome trying. My kid doesn't want to try to use words. They don't like words. And that's how you get your kid to try anything new. That's how you get them to try broccoli. That's how you get them to try, that's how you get them to hold your hand, to keep them safe when you walk in the parking lot. You have to make it fun. You have to make it interesting. You have to have them buy in. There has to be return on investment. Okay? So just like when you buy a new car, or you pay money for a language facilitation program, or anything that you use to enhance your life, that you invest time, energy, money, effort into, you want to see return on your investment. And your child is exactly the same. If they try at something and get benefit from it, it's going to make them want to keep trying. But just to try because somebody said, do this, and then you get a cookie, what's my return on investment? Okay, I get a cookie, but I didn't really want a cookie. What I really wanted was to be able to connect with you. I talked to a mom this week whose kid was in ABA and they get hooked on food. And the thing is, therapy, flashcards, playing with your child, all of that stuff is doing. And in our society, you think if I have a child who is late talking, I have to do something to fix them. And the issue with a spirit kid is that there's nothing broken. It's just that they don't like the same thing that you like. And they don't know how valuable those words are. Because The other thing that happens is once they figure out how valuable those words are, they use them. That's their return on investment. So think about a child who won't stop dragging you around their house, around your house, demanding of you. My child wants something from me every minute. And they're dragging you around the house. And think about how much effort that is when you don't get up and go. They have a tantrum. They're laying on the floor. They're screaming. Their energy has to get expended doing all that stuff. And when you show them that words work and they can tell you what they want and tell you what to do, and you give them what they want and you do what they say, they're like the king. Okay, so your 2-year-old who's dragging you around the house, if this is you as a mom and your nonverbal child, no matter how old they are, is using something, some kind of behavior, some kind of alternative to language, and you understand what they want and comply with that, then they're just going to keep using it because it works. But the problem is it doesn't work for long because these kids are so smart. And when they start to explore the world outside of your household and your family, when they get to be 3 and 4 and 5 and older, and they go to school all day, or even if you're homeschooling and you're at church, or you're at your community efforts, or if you go to the library play groups or all the things in your community to connect with other people, your child is going to have a difficult time assimilating to those environments the longer you stay stuck in this intuitive connection. So this message is for you if you have a spirit kid. You really need to, the only way to get them past that resistance to using words that could be fear-based is have fun with it. Connect, play, and have fun. And then start to bring them out of the language world. Now, the other thing, the bicycle story, that's really important, and here's what happens to most parents who take on the task of trying to teach their kids using strategies, the doing, the playing, the things like that. When you have a child that you haven't established that connection with and you haven't, firmly got a grip on getting their attention with words, it's like getting them interested and then plopping them on the bike and shoving them down the street. So they're going to freak out, fall off the bike, and never want to play with the bike again. And retreat more into walking. See, you proved it to me. Riding a bike is the pits. I'm going to get hurt. It's, whatever. They start to get in their head. I don't like it. There's a reason I don't like it. I don't like it because it's hard. Or because it doesn't feel natural. Or because somebody yelled at me once, or for a million different reasons. Who knows energetically why kids don't want? As long as physiologically they're able to say words, it's down to a choice of I don't want to or I want to try at it. And that's where you start. So the big deal about this is you need to, when you make that connection, you have to start with your language facilitation strategies at that level. Because if you make that connection, then you're going to make your child even more angry. Because first of all, yeah, I'm interpreting your messages. I get you. I do that. Whatever. It's working. And look, we're talking about stuff and it's effective with me, but you're not carrying those things over to other people and you're not showing the child how to use those languages other places, then they're going to show up at the Easter egg hunt and crash and burn. And they're going to retreat more and more into mommy understands me. I'm going to stay with mommy. And you're going to present them with these other avenues in the world without prepping them, without teaching them how, without showing them how to move from that step to there. And that is what I do with my language facilitation plan that I give to parents is I help them to connect with their kids. I show them how to do that. I show them how to connect close up with them. I can interpret their kids' energy and I can interpret their energy. And when I do, I can kind of mirror it for them and show them, look, this is what's happening. Your child's energy is going off the charts, or they're so low, and you have to figure out how to bring them back together. And then we use our resources and ways for them to energetically do that with whatever resonates to them. So if it's meditation, if it's diet, if it's, quiet time breathing, if it's, then we come up with those energetic strategies to help a mom be able to gauge their kids' energy and do all of that. And I can show you where to get started, how to find that core, how to find that place, not just in the snuggle time where you know it exists, but help you take your child from that connection then out into the world so that they can develop the words they need to share their wisdom with the world. And that's how it works like that. So we're getting to the end here. I know I've been talking for a long time today. Obviously, this is a really big topic for me. And I just want to tell you, Waves of Communication is my website, wavesofcommunication.com. And if you want to get a language facilitation strategy session for your child, the best way, if you're watching this video, is to send me a private message, and I can send you a link to my schedule to go ahead and put that together. If you're not sure if you want to schedule a strategy session and you have an intuitive connection with your child and you aren't really sure if this is for you or not, or whatever, a strategy session is still appropriate. But even if you just have a question, send me a private message and ask me your question. I'm happy to talk through it. And these strategy sessions are free because I know it's important for a parent to be able to kind of talk through, like, what is going on in my household? And I can help you try to figure that out. And if it is a physiological issue that you have that you need to work on, before you're ready to do language facilitation, I'm going to send you somewhere else. I'm going to tell you to go do that. But if you feel like you're ready to get to your child's level and help them pull out of that bubble that they're in, reach through and get over their fear of communication with other people and language. Maybe they're empathic and they're very sensitive. That's another reason. I mean, they're afraid of the big energy that a lot of kids bring to the table, yet sometimes you can't shut them down. It's kind of nutty. Like I said, they're very dichotic kids. All right, so the name Waves of Communication is actually a part of my own spiritual journey. I used to be called, I live in Florida, for those of you watching. I know I've got people who are watching me all over the world. And thank you so much for joining me on this journey. Please share this video with your friends who you think have spirit kids and they have intuition going on, or they know they have a connection and they don't know how to use it, things like that. Let them know that business is real. All this stuff that they're feeling, that connection that you have with your child, is real, and you can use it. In fact, it's necessary for you to use it if you want to help your child break through. And these kids have diagnoses of all different kinds of crazy things, of autism. Not that autism's crazy. Now, I want you to know that it doesn't matter what diagnosis your child has. I don't want to get hung up on diagnosis. That's a whole other topic that I have. What I need to let people know is no matter what your child is diagnosed with, if you believe that they have words inside of them, you need to use your intuition to help them get them out. And that's just it. So anyway, my own spiritual journey, I live in Florida, and I used to be called Speech by the Beach, which was really fun because I love fun things, and I live close to the beach, and I actually have done some speech therapy sessions on the beach, which it has been super fun. And so that's what my business was called. But I actually went on a spiritual journey to Peru with a shaman I studied with shamans. I didn't study so much as I just went on this journey and I experienced the energy of the country, and I met some people who connect with people on an energetic level. Most of the people there spoke Spanish, but the shamans didn't even speak Spanish. They were Quechua shamans and from the Sacred Valley of Peru. And they were, sorry, there you go. And the shamans didn't speak the same language as me, and I had some healings from them, and I'm not sure what happened, I gotta tell you. I'm not sure. I know that I came out of that trip a different person in a lot of ways, and it's not even ways that I can describe. But one of the things that came out of that trip was I got rid of speech by the beach, because speech by the beach was working with kids. It wasn't working with parents. It was still that model of I'm going to work with a child. And when I was in Peru, I discovered that that is what I had to let go of, is that my role, and I'm going to get teary because this is what happens to me, my role is to help parents understand this. Intuition stuff isn't woo-woo. I mean, I call it woo-woo because that's fun. And the connection that we have with the universe and the connection that we have with everybody on the planet and beyond, potentially, no matter what you believe, is what's important. And that, getting out there crazy. There's kids who are being born into this timeline, into this place we are in our society to help us learn as grown-ups. And almost every parent, and pretty much every parent that I've ever worked with who is a parent of a spirit kid, learned from their child in big life-changing ways. And so what I feel like I do as I get teary, I'm a leaker. My intuitive, some people who are intuitive get chills or they do body testing, things like that. And I just cry. So, it's just how it goes. And the thing is, they're super happy tears, because for me to be able to bring this out to so many people with this 30-day challenge and the kind of people that I'm reaching, I know that there's more like me out there. So, for my new friends, like Christine and Ann Jenna, who are out there helping parents realize that their kids are super special and they need our help to get them into the world so that they can share their wisdom with us. Okay, now, enough of that. Hang on. Sorry, just gonna get clear so that I can see again. All right, this is getting long today, so I'm just gonna get down to the fun part. So here's the thing. Thank you, Brianna. Brianna sends me love. Mwah. I love all you guys, and I'm so happy to do this. So here's the fun thing I'm going to do today. So one of the things in my spiritual journey that helped me figure out that my intuition isn't just these crazy voices in my head, that it is coming from the universe. And for me, it is anywhere from angels to star people to downloads from the Akashic records to all the stuff that all you people who are connected with the woo-woo spirit, God, angels, I mean, pretty much everything there is that is out there in the spiritual world. I get messages my way through the use of tarot and oracle cards. And these are cards that are made by people who have a connection with the universe, and they make beautiful decks of cards that have messages on them. And how the universe works with these cards is that people who use them regularly learn to know the messages on the pictures and the words that are on the cards. And in my case, I look at cards and I get information from the universe based on the messages here. It all comes together in my head and I just kind of say stuff. And what you do when you're using cards is you put an intention into them. So you can ask a question, or you can say, universe, tell me about whatever. You know, like I could pull a card to say, tell me how my live video is going to go today. Most of the time I don't have to, and pulling cards about your own self isn't always the most effective, because sometimes your your ego brain can bias yourself. And so when you depend on messages that are from the universe or other people who read cards, anyway. So how I decided to bring the cards to you today for this special video where I talk about intuition and using my intuition is I have this special deck here, and I'm going to show you the cover. And these are, you can't see it because it's backwards. I know, that's the other thing about it. So I'm going to tell you, these are children's spirit animal cards. And they're really super cute. And they all have a different animal on them and a different message. And so what I decided to do for you today is, because I believe that all these spirit kids, I'm going to cry because it's true, all these spirit kids are connected somehow to each other and to us in the universe. And I think that there is potentially messages that we can get that can describe the energy of a child in the day, in the moment, in the timeline. So I know that sounds kind of weird, but what it means is I'm going to do in plain people talk, non-woo-woo talk, is I'm going to pull a card to get a message that represents the energy of all the spirit kids. So if you have a spirit kid, I want to know if might help you today. Just interpret the energy that's going on in your child. So if your child's nonverbal and they're not communicating and whatever, I'm going to pull a card right now that talks about what can the universe tell us is going to be the best way for me to tell these parents what to do today with your spirit kid that you can do to connect with them. And I'm going to pull on the kids' energy. So this is what the spirit kids of the universe want for you as parents to know. How to connect with them today. No matter when you're watching this video. So if you watch it 2 years from now, today is the day that this card works for you. All right? And I'm just going to open the deck and cut it like that. And I'm going to get to this card, the bunny. And these words say, ask for help. Okay? It's the rabbit. And look at this cool picture. I know it's going to be backwards, but I'm going to hold it up so you can see it, a little bit shiny. There's a butterfly and a bunny. And the bunny is looking at the butterfly, getting emotional. So that means, you know, so the message from your spirit kid who is telling you is that you should ask for help from someone. If it is me, if it is your holistic practitioner, if you don't know how to connect with your child, ask for help from someone to help you figure it out. Do a guided meditation. Send me a PM. Hook up with your best girlfriends. Try to figure out the best way to connect with your child. Talk to your partner. You know, maybe your husband or wife or your baby daddy or baby mama or nanny or, you know, teacher, your child's teacher. Someone else has had an idea or a moment when they felt that connected bond. And if you don't know how to find that with your child wants you to ask for help. And like I said, I didn't pull, you watch me do it. I opened it up. That's what they said. I know that I can help you, and I know that there are practitioners out there who can help you. So if you are working with a speech pathologist or a holistic doctor or anybody who's connected with the universe, and you feel like you don't have that tight connection or you want to figure out how to help them move out of it, ask for help from somebody who is connected. And there are people all over the place. And the universe wants you to try it and find them for yourself. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for joining me today. Please like this video if this resonates with you. I know it's out there, I know it's crazy, and I know it's unique. And not every parent of a late talking child is going to resonate with this. But those of you who have spirit kids, you know that your kids want you desperately to help them, share their wisdom with the world. And I desperately ask you to do that because these kids who are nonverbal spirit kids are here to help us. And I really want them to know that you as a parent have resources available to you to be able to help your child, help you. Do all the growing that you need to do as a parent and whatever's going on in your life. I mean, you know, like I said, pretty much every nonverbal spirit kid I've ever met has parents who have stuff they need to work on too. We all have stuff we need to work on. All the work that I've done, I'm just chipping off the surface. So it's an inside-out job, everybody. Get your kids to communicate, become a language facilitator for them, connect with them, and bring them out to share their wisdom with the world. If you want to connect with me and you want to ask me for help, I am available for you. Send me a PM and go to my website, wavesofcommunication.com, share these videos, and tune in tomorrow. I see that there's still 6 people watching. Thank you so much for joining me today, everybody. If you're watching the replay, I hope this resonates with you too. And tune in tomorrow because who knows what I'm going to come up with to talk about tomorrow. But I'll be here because this is only day 4. Tomorrow is day 5. And I'll see you all then. Have a great night.